Three, two, one. Hello, guys, and welcome back to ESBR Boxing. Delighted tonight to be joined by Niall and Gregory for a weigh-in reaction video to tomorrow night's main event in Vegas of Shakur Stevenson against Edwin De Los Santos. Slightly unusual one for ourselves, guys. A Thursday night fight isn't something we're really used to, but here we are. So we'll get straight into it. But first off, guys, how are we both?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
doing great. Both of
Yeah,
us, Niall. I think we're going to say at the same time, we're both doing great. We're excited for this fight. We're
yeah,
excited for it all to come. WBC lightweight title. Let's get it.
absolutely.
So we'll go straight into it. Obviously, Shakur Stevenson, big fighter at lightweight. He's moved up to lightweight. He's fighting Edwin De Los Santos. Firstly, I'll start with yourself, Greg. How do you think Shakur Stevenson looked on the scales? Do you think he looked comfortable at the weight? Do you think it was obviously I know money wise it's the advisable move, but do you look at Shakur Stevenson and see him as a fully fledged lightweight after that weigh in?
Oh, and I'm quite shocked because the weight, I think Shakur Stevenson's about 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", and he came in 1.2 pounds below the weight. And I'm thinking for a guy that size, that's a lot to come in lighter, but he's still a young guy. He's maybe adapting to what people would call your man strength. He's not fully fledged out yet. So I was a bit surprised he was as light as he was, but he's stepping up from lightweight. He made that comfortable. Sorry, stepping up from super feather. He made that comfortable. So yeah, let's give him a chance and we'll see what happens.
And then same one to yourself, Niall. I mean, Shakur Stevenson was, I believe, 133.8 pound. What's your sort of do you agree with Greg, or do you think is that strategic what he's done weighing in sort of a slightly light?
It's yeah, similar to Greg. I'm surprised that he came in that light. I know he came in light the last time as well by about half a pound, but to come in 1.2 under is very surprising. I do think he has the kind of perfect. I thought he looked good. He has the perfect dimensions for a lightweight fighter, and obviously he missed weight in his last super featherweight fight, so. It was the advisable move, but yeah, it's quite surprising. But I don't think it changes the game plan. Speed and agility was always going to be the way, and I think he should be able to still be able to deliver that. Yeah, but a touch surprised at how light he came in.
And then coming straight back to yourself, Niall, I think obviously they both weighed in, they both met weight. There doesn't seem to be too much animosity. I mean, as we alluded to what Greg said sort of before the recording started, there's about 20 seconds or so where you thought something might happen, you never know what's sort of going through their minds at this point. How do you think, sort of mindset wise, Shakur Stevenson, especially, is coming into this? Obviously, do you think that he's coming in slightly lighter will play a part, or do you think it looked like business as usual?
I think it looked like business as usual, as you say. There was a bit of jaw jacking, but that's the way Shakur Stevenson's going to do it. He's quite brash. He's almost divisive in a way. You either love him or you hate him. Really, the way he conducts himself. But I think it'll be a professional type of job. He'll show the due respect to De Los Santos, who has kind of reasons to take him seriously. As we might touch on, he has his power, and there's a lot of big fights in the pipeline for Shakur Stevenson at lightweight and beyond. So I think he's going to treat it quite professionally, and yeah, he'll be business as usual tomorrow night. I'd imagine so.
And then to yourself, Greg, slightly different, but Shakur Stevenson, as Niall sort of hinted at, he does come across quite marmite. He can be quite mouthy on social media. He's quite outspoken and confident in his abilities. Did you expect him to be sort of it to be as tame as it was, or would you have been expecting Shakur Stevenson to be a bit more sort of brass actually at the weigh-in?
Yeah, and I think he knows he's a little bit special. I think he maybe tries to build things up. He's not the biggest puncher, Stevenson, is he? So having that little bit of a bravado at the weigh-ins maybe spices things up a bit for the paying public, especially in the US. So yeah, I agree with now. I think it was business as usual. This is a guy who we all get nervous in fights, but I think he believes in himself that much. I mean, he's calling out Lomachenko, and I genuinely believe he would fight Lomachenko. So I think he's quite comfortable fighting Edwin De Los Santos with the greatest of respect.
And then obviously the weigh-in, come back to yourself, Greg. The weigh-in, there wasn't too much happened. Both made weight, both looked like they made it fairly comfortably, to be fair. Shakur Stevenson up at lightweight. It's one of the most stacked out divisions in boxing. There's so many big names. There's so many money fights. Are you surprised? I know a name you mentioned yourself. Are you surprised it wasn't sort of an Isaac Cruz level fight and Shakur Stevenson is going in with De Los Santos tomorrow night?
Yeah, well, and that's the name that I mentioned to you guys before we went on air. I just think that surely his team really believe in him. And, you want to be proving points against guys like Tank Davis, guys like Lomachenko. You want to be fighting guys that they've fought. And even if you're not a puncher, just do a really good job on them and say, well, you beat this guy, but look what I done to him. Isaac Cruz deserved that shot for me. He's WBC silver lightweight champion. All the credit in the world to De Los Santos. Very tough fight in his own right, but we're talking about the pinnacle of boxing. I don't know about you guys, but Isaac Cruz and Shakur Stevenson does so much more for me than this fight does for a world title tomorrow night to see who's the best in the division.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. As I said within the question, lightweight's one of the most stacked out divisions in terms of competitiveness and the names in the division. So I think what you've said is more than fair. And Niall, do you agree with Greg, or do you feel like this is a sort of a stepping stone into the division, or should he be someone as good as Shakur Stevenson? Should he be going in with a bigger name?
I agree in the aspects that he probably should be going in with a bigger name than De Los Santos. No disrespect at all, and Isaac Cruz would have been a fight that made sense. Cruz deserves a shot at Stevenson or another world champion, he's after the showing against Tank Davis. So yeah, it would have been more ideal to probably see him face Isaac Cruz, but I do think De Los Santos. I you might disagree, and I'm not saying he beat Shakur Stevenson, but I think this is quite interesting. I think this could be one of the most interesting tests of Stevenson's career so far. I think I like De Los Santos. I think he's quick, he's powerful, really powerful, explosive, big puncher, and yeah, I just think he has the kind of skills to give him a little bit of a fright. He won't beat Shakur Stevenson. Of course not. He won't. I don't think many people will, but I think there could be a one or two patchy moments for him. But hopefully, if when he does come through this, he'll move on to them bigger fights then in the future.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair again. No, like I say, he's destined to go into the bigger fights and he will be one of the biggest names in the division. Like I say, it could be a potential banana skin, but it is one we expect him to get through. Just as we wrap it up, gonna have to push you for a quick prediction. Niall, starting with yourself, who wins and how?
I'm gonna go Stevenson, wide enough, unanimous decision in the end. He's just too well rounded, too class. He's on a different planet. But as I said, if De Los Santos was to hurt him, I wouldn't be surprised. He has the power and the speed, especially if he goes to the body. So yeah, but Stevenson, UD for me.
And Greg, yourself, do you agree? Is it Stevenson win? Is it a different method?
Yeah, I think it's Stevenson, as Niall said there. I believe that he probably will win relatively comfortably on points. But if it's a close fight, if it doesn't go to plan, like Niall said, I can actually see Stevenson taking him out late. But the favourite with me is, yeah, maybe relatively wide on points.
Yeah, I think I do agree. It will be a wide points victory for Shakur Stevenson, guys. But like I say, thank you once again for joining me tonight. It's set to be a brilliant main event, slightly different one, Thursday night, but why not? Something different, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people tuning in. Let us know what you think in the comments, guys. If you agree with our predictions, if you think either fighter looked better in the scales, or even if you're unsure on any of our comments, just let us know. Like, subscribe, and continue to watch our videos. Thank you for joining me tonight, fellas.
Cheers.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.